In order to catch the status of your construction project, you will be using the outside plant status updating application within the UPN-GIS. The OSP Status Updating application can be found on the UPN-GIS website by going to the home page at maps.upnfiber.com. You can access the OSP Status Updating application. You will be required to be on the network to access the UPN-GIS website. On the home page, you'll notice 3 buttons. The second one, Custom Applications, is the path that you need to take. Within the Custom Applications page, you'll see a button called Construction Status. You'll click on that, and on the Construction Status page, you'll notice OSP Status Updating. This will open the application that you will use to update the status of your construction project. When opening this, you'll notice that it resembles the UPN-GIS map, except one major key. It has an editing tool over here. This is the tool that you'll use to update the status of your construction project. In the layer list, you'll notice some additional layers that you don't normally see in the UPN-GIS. These right here are linked to this editing tool. They are here because the editing tool needs them in the layer list in order to see those features for you to edit. And then you'll see those layers combined into one. Those are kind of the viewing layers that you'll see right there in Des Moines, for instance. You'll see them go off and on. And then below that, you'll see the other 3 data sets, layer sets that you normally see in the UPN-GIS application. The concept behind the construction status updating follows our normal drawing workflow. It goes from an estimate to being contracted, and then it goes into a UPN CWIP layer when the project has been permitted, and that permitted drawing gets submitted to the UPN-GIS department, and that goes in the map and gives you the ability to see the CWIP permitted drawing, as you can see right here. For this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the as-built layers so that we can focus on the construction status updating. The concept here is that you've already submitted the UPN CWIP drawing for your construction project. As you can see here, it can be turned off and on. If you're wanting to see what the symbology means, you can expand the layers and the layer list to see that. The red and black checkerboarded line is overhead fiber cable. The green and black is underground fiber cable. You'll notice conduit is also in here for most of your CWIP projects. If you submitted that as a layer and it was easily able to be pulled off, that has been added to your CWIP project. You will notice that whenever you turn on the construction status layer up here, that there are some colors that are real close to the CWIP, so just be aware of that. In particular, the CWIP conduit. I'm going to leave this conduit off, the CWIP conduit off for this demonstration. And as we can see here in this Des Moines Verizon project, by turning the construction status on, you can see that the project managers have been updating the project status. You can see built fiber is laying over top of conduit, and you can see the conduit is laying over top of the CWIP project. So that's kind of the concept, is that the CWIP project gets submitted as conduit goes in. You're updating that so that it lays over top of the CWIP project. Hopefully the CWIP project was somewhat accurate of where the project ended up being constructed at. And then once the fiber gets pulled through, then you'll lay the fiber over top of the conduit or the strand if it's aerial. So let's just pretend for demonstration purposes that I'm the construction manager over this, and my construction crew has been out in the field and they have told me that they have pulled fiber, or they've laid conduit from Merle Hay Road to 62nd Street right here. So I'm going to go in and update the project status using the edit tool over here. I'm going to go ahead and leave my layers as I have them turned on now. I've got just the fiber cable of the CWIP turned on right here. If I turn on the conduit, I see the light blue, but that gets to be a little bit busy. So I'm going to leave that off, and I'm going to remove this layer list from this so that I have some more map real estate here to look at. And I'm going to turn on the editing tool. I'm going to drag this over here to this side. I'm going to activate the built conduit. This gives me the ability to draw that conduit, and you can tell that it's ready to be used because when I select it, it's highlighted. So as the directions on the screen say, it just says click to start drawing, press Control to enable snapping. I'll get to that in a minute, the snapping part of that. So what you're aiming for is, it doesn't have to be dead on the CWIP, but you need to get it really close. It needs to be on the side of the street that it was installed on at the very least. So that will require you to zoom in a little bit in the map just to make sure that you're getting it somewhat accurate. So just by left clicking, you can see that the line is now able to be drawn. I'm just going to try to get that somewhat over the CWIP layer. Zoom out a little bit here and then zoom back in so that I can finish it up. They've laid it to 62nd Street. So I'm going to double click to end, and then that will bring up an attribute box. You are required to put in your Salesforce number. You are required to put in your name. I'm going to pretend that I'm Rod, and you are required to put in the date that this was entered into this system. You have some additional fields that you can populate if you'd like to, including the comments, the PO number, and the invoice number. Please see your RVP for what he would like input into this application. But these three right here are required. If these three are not populated, periodically the GIS department will go through and delete this. So it is very critical, excuse me, it's very critical that these three fields get populated every time you draw a line. So you can finish this line now just by closing this box. If you wanted to delete the line and redraw it, you could just click delete right there. But we've got the line where we want it, and so we can see that it's still selected. So I'm just going to go right here and clear selection, and once I do that, you can see that the line is now drawn. I can close this editing box, and that means that your editing session is done. That's real similar to the editing functionality in the desktop GIS software. And now if you were to go over here to layers, you can turn this off and on to see that the status of this project, the CWIP, is you've now laid conduit in that area. So let's pretend a week has gone by or whatever has gone by and your construction crew has pulled fiber cable through there. So let's go ahead and add the fiber cable. I'm going to close out my layer list, and I'm going to start my editing session by clicking on that button, that editing button. I'm going to zoom in so that I can get somewhat accurate. This time, instead of conduit, I'm going to activate built fiber. And you'll notice, again, that by moving your cursor over the map, it says click to start drawing. You'll also notice that snapping can be activated by holding down the control button, and you see that, that cross that snaps to the line there. That comes in handy so that you can get this fiber cable laid right over top of the conduit. Just by holding in the control button and then left clicking to start, you can just walk down that line, clicking every so often just to make sure that you're staying right over that line with the fiber cable. And I'm going to just go ahead and snap to the end of that and double click to end my line, and then up pops the attribute box again. Again, the three required fields are the project number. I'm going to pretend I'm Rod Wisecup, and I'm going to put in the construction manager, and then the date this was entered. We're going to step forward 2 days and pretend that this was done in the future. The comments right there. Again, see your RVP for what information he wants to fill out there, if any. But these three fields are required. To ensure this was captured, I just close. You'll notice it's selected. I just go down here to clear the selection, and you'll notice now that if I close out of the editing session and open up the layers, that my fiber cable is now laying on top of the conduit, and the conduit is laying on top of the C-width. If by chance you need to edit something that you did, let's pretend that you messed up and this is actually only to here, you can just click on edit, and then just by clicking on the line, you'll notice that it's going to give you two options. You can either, because those two are laying on top of each other, you can either edit the built conduit or you can either edit the built fiber. And you can go down here and delete, or you can delete this right here and redraw it. So that fiber cable is no longer there. Sometimes you do have to, these applications are a little bit funky sometimes. Sometimes you do have to do a refresh. As you can see there, whenever I deleted that, it did delete. It looks like it appears like it deleted the conduit as well, but as you can see, the conduit is there. Let's just try a real quick Shift F5 refresh. Zooming back into Des Moines. And you'll notice that it did refresh that. Sometimes these web applications do act a little bit funny in that regard. That is to be expected when you're dealing with web-based technology, browser-based technology. I unfortunately, as a GIS manager, don't have full control over the browser, so these are just some of the annoying things that you have to put up with the browser applications. So as you can see there, I just did a Shift F5 to refresh, and that conduit was showing back up there. You'll remember that I deleted the fiber because I messed up, we'll pretend, and it actually only got pulled to this point. So I deleted the fiber previously. It also almost made it seem like the conduit was deleted, but it was still there. You'll click on the built fiber, and again, I'm going to use snapping, and I'm just going to say that it was pulled to there. I'm going to double click to end the drawing. That's going to pop up my attribution box. I'm required to put in the project number, I'm required to put in my name, and I'm required to put in the date that I am entering this information. By closing this box out and clearing the selection, the fiber cable is added. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can give me a call or you can email me at joe.kilzer@upnfiber.com.